Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Sponsor. Mr. Sponsor, Mr. Speaker, gusto ko po sanang makapagtanong ng ilang bagay sa ating judiciary na nakalatag po ang kanilang budget sa araw na ito. Kapag ka po ang isang kaso, halimbawa po isang petisyon na na-file sa Korte Suprema, lumampas po ng 2 taon, hindi pa po nare-resolve. Meron po bang paglabag yun, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor?
Ano po yung tanong natin niyo na po?
Ang alam ko po, napakalinaw po yung tanong ko kanina.
Pasensya na kayo, hindi ko pa narinig. Ano po ang tanong lang? Kung ang 2 taon po,
Halimbawa po ang isang petisyon ay naihain sa Korte Suprema at makalipas po ang 2 taon, hindi po na-resolve. Meron po bang paglabag na doon?
basta po hindi pa submitted, hindi pa tumatakbo yung 2 years. Yung kaso niyo po na yung sinasabi, submitted na ba po? Para malinaw po.
Ang nakalagay po kasi sa saligang batas, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, ang isa pong kaso na naiahin sa Korte Suprema ay kinakailangan pong i-dispose sa loob ng 2 taon. So, ang akin pong tanong, pag nakalipas po ang 2 taon, malinaw po ba doon na meron ng paglabag?
Your Honor, Mr. Speaker, the interpretation of our friends from the judiciary is that when it is submitted for decision, then the 2-year grace period will have started.
Nakalagay nga po doon gano'n, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
Opo. Kaya ang tanong ko po sa inyo, kung yung kaso pong inyong halimbawa, submitted na for decision. Kasi doon po mag-uupisa yung 2 years.
Totoo po yun. A case submitted for decision, the Supreme Court has 2 years within which to dispose the case.
Opo.
Sige, detalye na po natin ang gano'n. Pagkatapos po ng 2 taon, na i-submit na po yung kaso for resolution sa Korte Suprema at hindi po yun na-dispose within 2 years, may paglabag na po ba ron?
Kung nasabit na nga po for decision, may paglabag talaga po. Sa ating kasamang Deputy Speaker, meron ba tayong specific case na nais pag-usapan? So at least our situation is more detailed.
Kahit na po walang specific case, Mr. Speaker, kasi marami po akong may bibigay sa inyong kaso, hindi lamang po 2 taon. May umabot pa po na 10 taon kung gusto po ninyong ibigay natin ang listahan. So ang tinatanong lamang po natin dito, kapag ang isang kaso which is submitted for decision, nakalagay naman po sa ating saligang batas, na 2 taon lamang ang hinihingi na panahon within which to resolve them, at kayo na po ang nagsabi na may paglabag na pagka lumampas sa 10 taon. Ngayon, humihingi po kayo ng humihingi po kayo ng specific case. Halimbawa po, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, yung kaso po ng GR number 227-282-87, ito po ay na-file pa noong October 14, 2016. 4 na taon na po ang nakararaan. Naliwanag po ba na may paglabag na dito, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor?
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, ang pinag-usapan po 2 years, pag-submitted na po for decision. Hindi po yung pag-file ng kaso. Siyempre, may pleadings po yan, may kanya-kanyang argumento. Ngayon po, pag sinabi na, okay, the case is submitted for decision, dan po umaandar ang 2 taon, Your Honor, Mr. Speaker.
Alam po ninyo, Mr. Speaker, palagi na lamang pong ganon ang katwiran. Sino po bang maglalagay sa posisyon parang isang kaso will be submitted for decision? Hindi po ba sila? Yung pagpapile po ng last pleading, yun po ang panahon kung paano ikakategorize ang isang kaso na submitted for decision. Wala na pong ibang gagawin eh. Wala na pong ibang papel na hihintayin ng Korte Suprema. Mula po dun sa pagkakasubmit ng huling pleading, yun na po yun eh. Kung ito po ay naisubmit October 14, 2016, wala naman pong hininging iba pang mga pleadings. 2020 na po ito, maliwanag na 4 na taon ang nakararaan. E di may paglabag na po yun. Saligang batas po ang nagsasabi niyan eh.
Your Honor, Mr. Speaker, not necessarily, unfortunately, because they might still be deliberating on the case. As long as it is specifically said that it is submitted for decision, then the 2 years will start. It may be right, it may be wrong, but that is the interpretation of the handlers of the Supreme Court. We may agree or disagree with them, but that is what they say.
Yun po ang nakalulungkot, nakalagayan po ng isang litigant, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor. Dahil po, kontrolado talaga ng Korte, more particularly the Supreme Court, kung kailan niya sasabihin na submitted for decision. Maliwanag po sa ating mga rules of court na kapag yung kahuli-huli ang pleading po ay na-file na at wala nang kakailanganin pang ibang pleadings, yun po ang pagkakataon na submitted na for decision yun, with or without the court's notice that it is submitted for decision. Kasi the litigant is at the complete mercy of the Supreme Court. So kung sasabihin niya, hindi pa po naman submitted yan. Sino po ba ang maglalagay sa kalagayan na submitted for decision kung hindi sila rin? So, kaawa-awa po ang litigante, maghihintay siya. Lalong-lalo na po kung ang pinag-uusapan dito ay kalayaan ng isang litigant. Sa makatwid, kung hindi pa submitted for decision, sila naman ang maglalagay doon. Kung kailan submitted, inabot ng 15 taon, wala pang pagkukulang doon. Yun po yung aking gustong hanapan sana ng kasagutan.
Your Honor, Mr. Speaker, kung gano'n nga po, sadya po nakakalungkot yun. Kaya nga po, may magaling na abogado who can pressure, who can make things happen probably through their litigation, that the Supreme Court is forced to submit that for decision as soon as possible.
Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, kahit na po hindi magsasubmit ng motion ang isang litigant, katungkulan po ng Korte na i-resolve po yun sapagkat constitutional po ang provision. Ang sabi po ng saligang batas, every case submitted for decision must be disposed within the period of 2 years. Ngayon, kung umamin na po sila na lumampas na sa 2 years, hindi naman nila ginagalaw, okay na po yung sagot ninyo, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, na merong paglabag doon.
Your Honor, Mr. Speaker, I just asked the court administrator, and he said, unfortunately, it is not yet submitted for decision. If we want, I can join the distinguished Deputy Speaker as the sponsor of the judiciary to ask him to look into it. But I can certainly meddle into what they are doing in their decision making, in how they deliver their decisions. I don't want to hurry them up. But we can ask them, we can plead to them to look into it.
What does it take for the court to submit it for decision? It was filed October 2016. What does it take for the court to submit it for decision? As far as this representation is concerned, no other pleadings were required.
Well, Your Honor, Mr. Speaker, if there are no other pleadings required, everything has been done, all the arguments have been set in, then they should take it upon themselves to submit it for decision.
That is precisely the reason why I am asking this, Mr. Speaker. What does it take for the court to submit it or to have it submitted for decision much earlier?
Mr. Speaker, I can only guess that they are doing their job as well as they can. I can only guess that probably they are undermanned. I can only guess that their budget is too small. That's why they're asking us to give them back the 55.88 billion instead of just 43.54 billion. Because the most we can do is actually to just ask them to look into it, Your Honor, Mr. Speaker. If you're talking about a certain case, we can surely remind them officially.
Mr. Speaker, I think we need to explain. The Supreme Court is the court of last resort. Our people knows that very well. If the case is filed with the Supreme Court, that is the last chance of a litigant to seek redress or justice. We can understand that the litigant looks upon the Supreme Court as the last refuge in seeking justice. And because of the nature of that court, the court of last resort, and considering further that the case probably revolves around her liberty or his liberty, the court, I think, should be sensitive to the public's expectation that it should do its job in disposing the case as soon as it can. The only question is very simple, Mr. Speaker. The litigant is at the mercy of the court. The court can take its sweet time when to put the case submitted for decision. When? The poor litigant will wait until eternity. This is the whole point. Did the Supreme Court, Mr. Speaker, ever conduct any study? What is the impact of every case resolved on time or not on time on the very life of a litigant? Do they know how they expect the court to do its job? What is the impact of the court's decision on the very life of a litigant? Is there any study ever conducted by the Supreme Court along this line? When the expectation of the people is so high, especially when they feel aggrieved, and they feel injustice. They go to the Supreme Court as the court of last resort. And then here we are, trying to determine whether or not the 2 years is enough, or the 2 years was not enough because the case was not ever submitted for decision. I will not belabor that point, Mr. Speaker. I will go to another point.